Hey friends, it's Rick Miller, and this is
Xing the Gap.
Improv fans, you're in for a treat, because today I'm speaking to Colin Mochrie and Debra McGrath. Colin's about as big an improv star as you can get, with over 2 decades on the TV show Whose Line Is It Anyway?, both the UK and US versions. But he's not just for laughs. No. Colin's also done Shakespearean tragedy and played a serial killer on Murdoch Mysteries. He's joined by his life partner, Deb McGrath, an award-winning writer, producer, and comedian who co-starred with Colin in the CBC series Getting Along Famously. And as you'll see, they do get along famously as we talk about being okay boomered, making Mulroney the opera, master plasterers, life's twists and turns, laughing through tough times, helping your trans child choose a new name, free speech versus hate speech, punching below your weight, hope in the younger generations, change in older generations, an improv game, a game show, and friendly competition.
Our daughter and I were always obsessed with Friends.
Can I just say Friends was up against Whose Line Is It Anyway?
Yeah.
For his entire run.
Yeah, we knew
did
that.
Much better than us.
Yes, I always give him his platform.
From one platform to another, we're
Xing the Gap.
Colin Mochrie, Deb McGrath, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks for inviting us.
Yeah.
So you are a part of a new experiment here. I usually speak to someone younger and someone older, like boomer, millennial. This is different. I take it you are both boomers. I'll hazard a guess.
Yes.
Colin's a younger boomer by 4 years.
Okay.
Yeah, we're boomer. Boom booms.
We're
have you
mid boomers? Yeah.
have you ever been okay boomered by anyone?
No,
Yes.
Oh, have you?
Yeah. I grew so tired of that. I'm not a violent woman. Let
No,
me
she
just
isn't.
say
She's-
this.
no, very
But I
peaceful.
was like, if you say "okay, boomer" one more time,
Who said it? Not Colin, I take it.
not
No.
Colin and not our
No.
daughter, who is a millennial. Not
Okay.
our daughter.
No. Yeah, so far she likes us.
Yeah.
Okay. And Colin, have you been have you felt okay boomered?
Oh, there was sometimes when in the technical aspect of the world, like dealing with computers, someone will go, do you understand how to? It's like, yes, because you know what? We were there at the beginning.
Yeah.
So we were there when we had to dial up and then listen to high-pitched.
And our generation invented the computer. Thank you.
You know,
very
I
much.
love it when boomers say that. It's because Gen Xers like me saying, we invented the internet. You know, that's not always a good thing to say these days,
No,
I would say.
No. Yeah, thanks a lot.
Computer is a good thing. Internet, I don't know.
And Colin, you and I met in person, correct me if I'm wrong, on the set of Mulroney the Opera, where I was Brian Mulroney under 3 hours of prosthetic chin, and you were our scrappy prime minister from Shawinigan, Quebec, Jacques Chrétien. And I remember the song you sang. Do you remember that weirdness?
Oh, yes, I absolutely. Because that was my second go around with that group. I'd done, Deb and I did something with them.
Burnt Toast. Right. You did a Burnt Toast.
Yes. we did.
It was in, and the lovely Donna Fiora was there to make sure that my lip syncing was right on. And yeah, it was stressful. I don't know how you did it, because I mean, you had a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Like a lot of stuff. I just had that one song.
This is my official duty and honor to unveil this official portrait of Brian Mulroney.
Those kind of things I love because they're so outside of my comfort zone, and I find that's where I have the most fun in my career, is when I have no idea what's going to happen. I'm not really equipped to do what the job is asking for. I find those the most fun.
Okay, I realized that I didn't introduce you both properly, so let's backtrack a bit. Deb, give us the 1 minute, 2 minute version of the Deb McGrath story.
Yes, all right. My grandfather McGrath came, I guess, beginning of the 1900s. He was a master plasterer, worked exclusively in Toronto, in Ohio. He did a lot of the fancy scroll work in both the Union Station and the Fairmont Royal York.
You have an ancestor who's a master plasterer, which I'd love to put on my LinkedIn at some point.
Yeah, I know. Isn't it true? Yeah, no, I don't know what the story is where he didn't claim taxes. They say there was a tax issue. He was also having an affair. He left when my grandmother with 12 kids when my father was 4. But we had a couple of my great-grandfather was a person that Angela's ashes could be based on. It's it wasn't him, but same story. So, a lot of interesting characters in the background. Fast forward to me, a character in my own right.
Not in the background, actually in the foreground.
Exactly.
In front of your hearth, I might add. This is a very domestic bliss situation here.
Yeah.
Okay, moving over to you, born in Scotland, Colin Mochrie. Tell me a little bit about you.
I don't have the colorful family history that Deb has. We had a very small family. My father and mother emigrated with us when I was 6 and went straight to Montreal because they had some friends there. But for some reason decided to locate in an all-French neighborhood. And we lived there in Montreal for 5 years. And then the political situation started to get a little odd. Our school kept getting bomb threats.
It was FLQ time.
Oh, this is late 60s, early 70s. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So right
when I was born. Part of FLQ.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That for some reason that just hurts. And then we moved to Edmonton and my mother just hated Edmonton. I think we moved in the middle of winter and it was a pretty bad. I remember going to school and this sounds like an old story. I had to walk 2 miles to school and it was 33 below and there was a wind chill factor. And I kept thinking in any other part of the country, this would be a snow day.
Yeah.
What? It was horrible. So, and then we ended up in Vancouver, and my dad worked with the airlines. He in sheet metal repair, couldn't get any work, and there was one point. I guess I was 12. He decided, well, we're going back to Scotland. So we were in a motel. We were there for a week, and the week before we left, he said, "You know what? Give me 2 more weeks. I really don't want to go back." And within a week, he got a job with Air Canada, and then we stayed there in Vancouver for the rest of his life. And I often think how easy it is for your life to take a totally different turn. If we'd gone back to Scotland, I have no idea what would have happened to me. Yeah. I don't think I would have ended up in improv unless you believe in destiny or something.
Yeah.
But I mean, it really would have been an entirely different experience growing up in Vancouver and growing up in Scotland.
Yeah.
Dr. Colin Mochrie, marine biologist.
Yes,
it could have happened. And the waters would have been much colder around Scotland.
Destiny. I think life is a lot more like improv than pre-written destiny. And I don't think that life should be spent seeking one true path and one true soulmate. Sure, seek a path you like and a partner you love, but don't kid yourself that there's an idealized version of your life that's outside of the life you're living right now. That kind of magical thinking drives rampant consumerism and fuels Hollywood rom-coms. But in the real world, the world of compromise and complexity and contradiction, dreaming about destiny distracts you from living the life you have now and doing the best you can with the people you love in the time you have.
We've spent more time together in the last few years. What is it, 10 now? The last few years with this pandemic than we have our entire marriage, basically. Mm-hmm. And we're laughing all the time and doing shows and, podcasts and things. I think people are loving. I think comedy is king queen during the pandemic because people want to laugh and need to laugh.
Mm-hmm. And we went through early in our marriage some horrible times. When we were in Los Angeles for a little while, Deb had written a show with Linda Cash, got produced. And then that's a whole other story. But it ended up we were in LA around the Rodney King time and the OJ. It was a very tense city. It was floods. Yeah, Ron James said it was like living through the Old Testament because we had everything except locusts.
Yeah.
And we were, Deb had just given birth to our daughter. We were selling all our CDs to get diapers and food for her. So I'd be going, Deb, Joni Mitchell, like with tears in her eyes, don't tell me, just take them.
Yeah.
And yet we still found laughs during that because it was really all we had.
Yeah.
Yeah. Laughter seems crucial to our survival when things seem to be going off the rails, like today. I mean, do you see the state of comedy now with a lot of comics digging into what they call cancel culture, that they can't say anything anymore? How do either of you feel around that? And have you been around the game long enough to know that comics always will say that kind of stuff?
I think so. I think there's a misunderstanding between free speech
and hate speech.
And also, just because you can speak freely still doesn't mean there aren't consequences. And I find the comedians that are having problems are not punching above their weight. I mean, comedy is there to sort of make fun of the people in power, to sort of hold up a mirror to that. It's so easy to, go after people who are already being hounded by society or whatever. So, I mean, it's a fine line. I think David Chappelle is very funny. I think he took a major wrong turn on that.
I mean, I feel I do support free speech. I do draw the line because I think a lot of it is criminal. It's hate speech. However, my choice is I will never support that person again. Go out, do your gigs. For all the people paying to see you, fabulous. Mm-hmm. Be well, prosper. Like JK, dead to me. I will never read another thing she puts out there. But I don't wish her ill. And those who still want to support people like Chappelle, that's their choice. But it's a moral dilemma for me to pick the most vulnerable people in society that already suffer.
Yeah.
We saw a president of the United States on national television making physical fun of a disabled person. That's what we've become. And that people go and support that breaks my heart. But I support their right to go support it.
Right.
There was actually, I saw on YouTube, there was George Carlin was being interviewed by Larry King. And it was a conversation that could have easily been played today. They were talking about Andrew Dice Clay. Okay. And George Carlin was saying, I don't want to stop his career. I'm not saying, he's free to do whatever. But again, he's punching below his weight. He's going for people that need a voice. They don't need someone piling on. Brad Sherwood and I have been touring for 20 years, and we start every show with, we don't do anything political because it's really hard with improv to do political stuff on the spot because it just gets either wanky or, well, he's a dick. And it's not really insightful. It's just, I can see how you feel about it.
Yeah.
That's the great thing about stand-ups. The late night guys, they have time to write, to hone, to make sure their voice is clear. And we don't have that. So it'd be a disservice to everyone. So we say, and the audience laps it up. There's always major applause there because I think at times they just want to have goofy fun. And that's why we're here.
I was at Second City in the 80s and, you didn't really swear on stage. It was quite shocking when someone did. And then, of course, people started swearing and the producer came to us and said, okay, here's the deal. 1 per show. And it's got to be that there was no other word to say. And you know what? That's words to live by.
Yeah. Okay, here's my okay boomer moment. I always, this is a gross generalization. Certainly not all young comedians, but there are a lot of young comedians who don't look at the history of comedy. So there's always the thing, well, we're doing new, and it's like, you know what? You're not doing anything that hasn't been done by Jack Benny, Ernie Kovacs, all these pioneers. And they had the added thing, they couldn't do anything sexual. They couldn't do any dirty language. They were actually, in many ways, although I'm sure they didn't think it, they were limited. You have all this freedom. And when you sometimes have too much freedom, I find that's when you get lazy. That's when the comedy gets lazy.
Freedom. You hear a lot about freedom these days. From the right, it's usually about the freedom to not get vaccinated or to not wear a mask, or the freedom to create wealth, to own property, and to bear arms. From the left, it's usually freedom from oppression and coercion, and it's tied to democracy, equity, and human rights. These past couple of years, our sense of freedom has been challenged because we've been constrained, which isn't always a bad thing. Creativity needs constraints because it's about transformation. And the greatest transformations happen in closed environments, a cocoon, a womb, a room. Because energy isn't dispersed, it flows back on itself and it creates friction. Things you thought were fixed are actually fluid. In that sense, real freedom is not being tied to any fixed identity or ideology, especially ones that make you act like an asshole. Real freedom is the freedom to change. Deb, I wanted to speak about the article you wrote in Reader's Digest, which was about a phone call in which your daughter came out as trans. And
yes.
it was such a lovely piece. It's a short piece.
Oh,
it's Reader's Digest. But I wonder if you could just kind of tell us that story again.
Yeah, I mean, Colin was out of town, and Kinley had already come out to us a couple of times as bi, and then lesbian. She switched that up a few times. And then I've got to talk to you about something. And of course, as a mother of an only child, what do you need to talk to me about? I'd rather wait till Dad's home. Well, that's not the right thing to say. And I basically bullied her into saying, tell me. And she took a deep breath and went, I've changed my gender. I am a woman. My name is Hannah, and I want she, her pronouns. And the long and short of the story is we didn't have a problem with it. Much to my everlasting shame, I had a problem with the name she chose, and that became my battle cry. And I didn't think it suited her. In the end, she asked us to pick names from her Scottish-Irish heritage. And she said, pick a couple names. I picked 45. And she chose
She's
3.
a very intense list maker.
One that she loved, which is Scottish, which is Jones, which is so cool for a first name.
Wow.
Jones Mochrie. But she said, I don't feel comfortable enough as a woman physically. I want a name that identifies me to people. The second one, she tried Scottish, Bray, B-R-A-E. Liked it, didn't love it. And then she landed on the Irish Kinley, and Kin for short. Nothing against the name Hannah, but there's a lot of them. And she named it after our friend's dog that we all referred to as Hannah the Humper. So that's all I ever saw when she said her name. Oh, on Hannah's last dying day, still grabbing the leg. So yeah, we never had an issue. I don't understand why we would. I do speak to a lot of trans parents, and I listen. I don't give advice. I will give my experience, but I never understand the rejection, because till the second they're born, or now, this generation, you find out, you're so thrilled about having a human, a good human. That's what you want. We lose that somewhere along the line. And as I've said to anyone who will listen, her Christmas stocking is so much easier to fill now that she's a woman. I'm just saying. Grown men's stockings, no. Stop it. I can't even.
So, Colin, you and Kinley were on Global News. I did my research, damn it.
Yeah, you did.
There was a social media post that you were wishing Kinley, I think, a happy birthday at some point, and it got trolled by an anti-LGBTQ plus mob. And you spoke about the distrust of people who are different from you, distrust of the other, and hoping sanity will prevail. And I loved your response to the trolls on Twitter. You said, thanks to the fans of this page for being supportive and human. To the trolls, my thoughts and prayers to your body for losing its mind and soul so tragically. Do you feel since that time that we have made progress on the trust question, or are we tilting to tragedy?
I think I believe today is the best it's ever been. There's still a long way to go. And there's more. I think our hope lies with the younger generation. Yeah. Everyone who was around Kinley's age that found out or were told said, congratulations, that's great. Everyone our age would always go, how are you doing? It's like, we're doing fine. It's like, oh.
Her generation, they all know a million people who are trans, who are non-binary, who identify with objects, with emojis. I mean, they are allowing every creature on this earth to live the way they want to. And I think it's going to get even better with the subsequent generations. I really have great hope for it.
They certainly are more educated than, I would say, our generation and older.
Well, yeah. I mean, Colin and I were having this conversation the other day. I didn't grow up in a homophobic family. I had no thoughts about it. I didn't think that Paul Lynde was gay. I didn't really even know what that was.
He was a square on Hollywood Squares, as far as I'm concerned.
Yep.
Yeah, and Liberace. Well, he
Charles
liked
Nelson
costumes.
Riley.
Charles Nelson Riley. And all my buddies, so many of my guy friends in high school that would come to the plaza for chips and Coke with the girls. I never thought, are they gay? They were, as it turned out. But I didn't think of it at that time in my life. I didn't think anything about it. So the good news is there was no prejudice. But the bad news is it wasn't on the radar, which is horrible.
Young and clueless. The night Meat Loaf died, my partner Stephanie and I decided to watch Rocky Horror Picture Show, where meat features at, well, the dinner table. Anyway, when I had first seen it growing up, it was probably my first exposure to the word transvestite and to anything resembling LGBTQ+ culture. In Boom X, part 2 of my Boom trilogy, I share stories from my Gen X youth in TMR, a suburb of Montreal that's shaped, interestingly enough, like an X. I listened to Meat Loaf, ate Meat Loaf, and was pretty clueless about the sexism, racism, and homophobia of the time. Though I never dressed up as Aladdin or wore blackface, I did spend much of my early career making people laugh by doing the voice of Apu from The Simpsons in my show Mac Homer. Different times, I guess. The Simpsons are still on the air today, but the problem with Apu being voiced by a non-South Asian man has been addressed. Some things do improve with age.
Here's what I find odd. We were both talking about this that early in the comedy career, either Second City or on Whose Line, there are moments that you look back and go, you're just covered in sweat because you go, wow, so homophobic, so transphobic. With that joke, I have just alienated an entire section of the population. And actually, I got called, once Kinley came out, I got a email from a gentleman, Steve. I can't remember his last name, but he runs a improv group in London, England, and said, congratulations on your daughter. Can I just say, next time you're doing Whose Line, keep an eye out on the homophobic and transphobic stuff. And I immediately went, yes. Oh my God, yes. Can I share this letter with other improv troupes? And he said, absolutely. And I did, and got this conversation going. And I was really happy to see that most of those companies were already on that road of making it a safe space, whether race, gender, sexual preference. And again, I mean, it still happens from time to time. And again, it's lazy comedy. It's because I don't think we ever thought, oh, we weren't making a point. It was like, oh, I'm not getting a laugh.
I mean, the thing is, we didn't think of who we were hurting. Yeah. That's the good news and the bad news. Mm-hmm. We didn't think anyone would be hurt by it because we didn't think that these people were out there in the audience. And our daughter and I are we're always obsessed with Friends.
Can I just say Friends was up against Whose Line Is It Anyway? For its entire run.
Yeah, we knew
did much better than us.
Yes, I always gave him his platform. But we watched it again a few years ago at the beginning of the pandemic, and we're watching. She had been watching it off and on since she came out. We're watching, and at the end of like 5 episodes in a row, I said to Kinley, "Oh my God!" And she went, "Uh-huh." But we didn't notice it then.
Yeah. Pretty straight,
so
pretty white.
Homophobic. So homophobic. Oh my God. Like the accidental hugging of the dear friends. Oh, that's the kind of stuff we did at Second City that we thought was hilarious.
I think it's our evolving sense of what is funny, what needs more care, what needs more attention. We're at least paying attention now, and I appreciate it, especially when older people, and I don't mean you, I mean people in their 70s and 80s, can recognize that there is a fluidity in how we think about things and how we think needs to evolve as much as our bodies need to change too.
Oh, my mother was in her early 90s when Kinley came out, and she's still with us, thank God, and took it like, well, I just hope people are nice to her. That was her only worry.
Wow. And I bet you've shared that worry too.
Oh, that was our only worry. That was the only worry we had was for her safety.
I mean, it all comes down to educating and experiencing. I've had a lot of tweets from some people who said I grew up in a totally homophobic atmosphere. Then I ended up in my first job where there were many gay people, and I was almost immediately ashamed of how my family thought. And I have learned, and that to me, the greatest words ever is I have learned to become better, to admire the people that we live on this planet with.
And we're all still learning with Black Lives Matter and you know the rise of LGBTQ2S plus folks in this business. I took the courses with ACTRA. I'm on ACTRA Council, and oh my God, I thought, well, I pretty well have this covered. Did not have it covered.
Yeah.
Things I didn't even think of from my place of privilege.
And I don't like it when younger people discount older people for the possibility of learning and change, because we all do. Our brains have this neuroplasticity. We truly can. And the organization that I'm connected to, CABI, is all about innovation to improve the lives of older people, because we are living longer and we have a lot to offer the world. So speaking of having a lot to offer the world, you're both expert improv artists, and I'd be remiss in not asking to share your gifts with my audience here. I went online and found a random sentence generator. I'd like you to start telling a story based on one sentence, and I'm going to stop you at a certain point, and I will put a sentence in one of your mouths, and you will say the sentence and carry on with the story. Does that make sense?
Okay, great. Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay, the first random sentence found from the interweb was, I can open the door. Colin, I can open the door.
I can open the door to so many experiences since I've been with you. You make me feel safe in this world, and I want to thank you for that.
Stop. Deb, I'd rather live in a small town than in a big city.
I'd rather live in a small town than a big city because I don't like people. And I find there's fewer people in small towns. And they roll the carpets up at 9 o'clock so you can be safely in your own home seeing nobody.
Well, that's what I love about you, because it's just the two of us now.
Exactly.
We don't have to care about who's out there.
Exactly.
We are a team.
We are a team.
Stop, Colin. She was homeschooled until she was 13.
She was homeschooled until she was 13. I'm talking about my mother now.
Yes,
it was
that explains a lot.
Yes, it was a day where school hadn't actually been invented. In this small area where she lived in Scotland, they would learn from the elders just by going around a fire and having some cold haggis and some iron brew and talk about their experiences.
Pause. Well, Deb, they are so cute.
They are so cute. They really are so cute. Look at you. with your little earrings, your little pierced ears. I never thought you'd do it. And they are so darn cute. You suit it.
Well, I also moisturize.
Yeah, well, that's part of it. It's part of your whole look, really.
Thank you. I'm going to just throw a little round of applause there. Thanks for playing that stupid thing. Now the fun begins because I'm going to have you both compete in a game show. Let's begin. Which millennial comic recently released a Netflix special called Inside?
The worst part about getting older is all these great comics, remembering their names.
He sings a lot.
Bo Burnham.
Bingo. If boomers had bell bottoms, millennials had what kind of jeans? Yeah, Deb?
Skinny.
Skinny jeans. Bingo. What company stated, "You've come a long way, baby"? Colin?
I was going to say Virginia Slims.
Correct.
Yes.
The cigarette company.
Yeah.
My God.
One of the worst advertising campaigens ever.
Yeah.
That had the most horrific effects ever.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Television. Who shot JR? Deb.
Well, Bobby, technically. But
No. Colin.
It was
a woman.
The woman.
Oh,
it was
yeah.
the
one
Crosby.
whose father
Someone
is,
Crosby.
yeah.
I can't remember.
Bing Crosby's granddaughter.
Yeah.
Right?
Mary Crosby, scheming
Mary.
sister-in-law and mistress. Maybe I'll give you both a point there.
Yeah, we each got half a name.
I don't have half points, so I'm giving you a full point each, okay?
I like it.
Thank you.
What Rocky movie did Mr. T appear in?
If I get it wrong, you go to the next one. Rocky 3.
Ding, ding, ding. Correct. Bonus points to if you know the character's name.
Oh. Fatty. Oh, man. Yeah.
Clubber Lang. Clubber Lang. Dig
I
deep.
never would have gotten
Dig
that.
deep into the vaults of useless information there.
Yeah.
Similar kind of topic. What was Randy Savage's nickname in WWF wrestling?
I don't know anything
Yeah,
about
Colin.
wrestling.
Macho Man.
Can you do an imitation?
No.
Bingo.
That may have been Hulk Hogan. I'm not sure.
Name one of the original VJs on Much Music. Deb?
Christopher Ward.
Yes. Okay. Colin, can you name another?
Erica M.
Yes. Good. You each get points. Name a member of the Brat Pack, not the Rat Pack. Deb?
Rob Lowe.
Yes. Name a character from one of the newer Star Wars movies. Deb?
Yeah.
Kylo Ray.
Kylo Ren.
Ren.
Kylo Ren. I'll give you that point.
Okay.
Yeah. Colin, what were you going to say?
I was going to say Kylo Ren.
Okay,
Ren.
correctly, right?
Ren.
You weren't going to say Kylo Ray.
I wasn't going to do the
because
Ray.
Ray is also a character.
Yeah,
actually,
exactly.
Ray, yeah, so you were actually right twice, but I'm not giving you 2 points.
Oh, damn.
Riverdale is a spicy update of which famous comic book? Deb?
Archie Comics.
Yes. Did you read Archie growing up?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Probably pretty sexist and homophobic too, I imagine,
Oh, my
right?
God.
Yeah.
My God. And Betty and Veronica were the same woman with different hair.
Indeed. Made it easier to draw.
Yeah.
I did.
Name a pop song from the last 5 years.
Oh, Jesus wept.
Jesus Wept was not a pop song from the last 5 years.
That's too bad. I really feel I should. We should
5
have
years.
this.
If I Colin?
Oh,
Call Me Maybe.
2013.
Oh.
9 years ago. I should
about
have
the
stretched it to a
one?
decade. What about the
What about-
one?
what about the one? And you put doing my nails, and you put my hair, and you thing my thing.
And you think my thing.
Yeah.
Okay, Boomer.
Yeah, I know.
I'm going to skip all of the other music ones. That is a. That
We were
was.
good at music.
We're good up until 83, maybe.
Yeah.
Okay,
No,
let's see. Let me
90s.
think of a 1983 song. Who sang Tainted Love, 1982? One Hit
Love.
Wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can see them.
British
Oh,
Invasion.
that's so sad. Yeah. I'm going to say Crowded House, which is totally wrong. But
No,
I
they were
feel
New
there's a
Zealand.
C in there somewhere.
Soft Cell. That's okay.
That's
okay.
A gun to my head.
It's so much easier when you give us the answers.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Okay, something very different. Name a Disney princess.
Aurora.
Aurora, she says with an exclamation mark. Who
Yeah.
lives in a pineapple under the sea?
SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yep. Colin, name all the Game of Thrones families. Or name one of them.
Lannister.
Good. Can you name another? I lowered the bar in the middle of the question. Never do that as a host.
I appreciate it. I really do. I'm going to say the Farnworths.
The McGraths, damn it. The McGraths were the key family, the evil family. No, they were the Starks, the Lannisters.
Starks, of course.
Yeah. And now I'm blanking about all the other ones, but they were the important ones, right?
Yeah, Targaryen. Was there a
Targaryen? That's right.
Targaryen?
Yeah, okay.
Well done.
All right.
You're redeemed.
I hope you had fun. That's the end. I'm going to put this together into something wonderful, but I wanted to thank you both.
Oh, thank you, Rick.
for
Always lovely
thinking
seeing
of
you.
us.
See you next time.
Bye.
Thanks for having us.
Take care.
And see you next time, my friends. But before we go, thanks to my guests, Colin Mochrie and Debra McGrath. Next time, we'll have to get their daughter, Kinley, on the podcast. My name's Rick Miller, and I wrote, recorded, and edited this episode with multimedia by my team at Kidoons. For more info about the Boom Trilogy and our many other projects, visit kidoons.com or boomtheshow.com. Thanks also to my partners on this podcast, Leap, an online community where life experience meets innovation, created by CABI, the Center for Aging and Brain Health Innovation. For more info or to become a Leap member, visit cabi.com/leap. And thank you, my listeners, for helping Xing the Gap find and grow its audience. If you're on a podcast player, please follow us, write a review, and tell someone about this or other episodes you liked. You can also send any questions, comments, feedback to me at Rick Miller Actor on Twitter or Instagram, or rick@rickmiller.ca by email. And hey, in a polarized world, you have a choice. Build a wall or build a bridge. Build bridges, not walls.
Xing the Gap.